Hello there, and welcome all you future chartered accountants. Today, we are going to tackle a super important and actually pretty interesting part of your business laws paper. We're talking bailment and pledge from the Indian Contract Act of 1872. My promise to you, we're going to make this simple, clear, and totally exam ready.
So, let me ask you something. Have you ever lent a book to a friend, or maybe dropped your laptop off to get fixed? What about something as simple as giving your clothes for dry cleaning? I mean, we do this stuff all the time, right?
Well, guess what? Every single time you did one of those things, you actually entered into a formal legal relationship. It's called a contract of bailment. And yeah, it sounds a little fancy, but let's break down what it really means.
So, here's the plan for today. We'll start with the basics of what bailment is in our everyday lives. Then, we'll get into the duties of the people involved. After that, we'll meet bailment's special cousin, pledge. We'll put them head-to-head to see the difference, and then we'll wrap up with the absolute key takeaways you need for your exam. Sound good? Okay, first things first. Let's pull back the curtain on this word, bailment. What is it really? What does the law actually say?
Right, so Section 148 gives us the official definition, and if you look closely, there are a few key ingredients here. First, there's a delivery of goods. Second, it's for a specific purpose. And third, there's a clear understanding that those exact goods will be returned. That simple formula, that's the heart of everything we're about to talk about.
For a bailment to be legit, you need these 5 things to be true. It all starts with a contract, which can be spoken or just implied by your actions. Then you have the delivery of some movable goods. There has to be a purpose, like repair or safekeeping. Now this next one is absolutely crucial. Only possession changes hands, not ownership. You still own your laptop when it's at the repair shop. And finally, the deal is always that the exact same goods will be returned.
Okay, listen up, because this is a classic exam question. Putting money in a bank account is not a bailment. Why? Because the bank doesn't give you back the very same 100 rupee notes you deposited. And using a bank locker? Also not a bailment, because you keep the key, which means you still have possession. The bank is just renting you a secure space. It's a subtle but really important difference.
So in every contract of bailment, you've got 2 main characters. There's the bailor, that's the person who delivers the goods, and there's the bailee, the one who receives them. So let's take a look at what the law expects from both of them.
Just looking at it from a high level, the bailor's job is all about being honest about the goods and covering certain costs. The bailee, on the other hand, their duties are all about taking care of the goods and giving them back properly. Now let's zoom in on this single most important duty for each one.
For the bailor, the number 1 rule, according to Section 150, is to be upfront. You have to tell the bailee about any faults you know about, especially if those faults could cause some kind of risk or damage. It's all about transparency.
And the law gives us this perfect and kind of dramatic example to remember this by. If you lend a horse that you know has a mean streak and you don't warn your friend about it, well, you're on the hook for any damage that horse causes. The lesson is crystal clear. You have to disclose known dangers.
Now let's flip it to the bailee. Their main job, under Section 151, is to take reasonable care. So what does that mean? Well, the test is pretty simple. You have to treat the goods you're holding with the same level of care that any ordinary, sensible person would use for their own stuff.
Now check this out. Let's say a bailor tells you to keep their jewelry in a bank locker, but you think, nah, it'll be fine at my place, and then it gets stolen. You're responsible. And here's the kicker. It doesn't even matter if you keep your own expensive jewelry at home. Why? Because reasonable care also means following the bailor's specific instructions. You ignore the instruction, so you breached your duty. Okay, so we've got a really good handle on bailment now. So let's move on and look at a special type of bailment. It's called a contract of pledge, and it's used for one very specific reason.
Section 172 tells us what a pledge is. And look at that familiar phrase, bailment of goods. But here's the twist. It's done for one reason and one reason only, to be used as security for a loan or a promise. So you can think of it as bailment with a financial mission.
And hey, with a new purpose comes some new names. In a pledge, the bailor is now called the pawnor, and the bailee is called the pawnee. They're the same roles, really, just with different labels to fit this specific situation.
All right, everyone, lean in a little closer for this part, because this is absolutely critical for your exams. Nailing the differences between a general bailment and a specific pledge, well, that's where the marks are. So let's put them side by side.
Okay, let's walk through this, because this is prime exam territory. First, purpose. A bailment can be for any reason, repair, safekeeping, whatever. But a pledge, it is only for securing a debt. That leads us to the biggest difference of all, the right to sell. A bailee has no right to sell your stuff, but a pawnee, they absolutely can sell the goods if the pawner defaults on their payment. Huge difference. Next, the right to use. A bailee might be allowed to use the goods, but a pawnee generally can't. And finally, consideration. A bailment can be totally free, but a pledge is always for consideration. It's backing up a financial deal after all.
Wow, we have covered a lot of ground, so let's boil it all down to the absolute must-know essentials that you need to carry with you into that exam hall.
First, lock this number into your brain, Section 148. When you see 148, you think bailment. That's the general deal, delivery for a purpose with a promise of return.
And the second number, Section 172. That's your code for pledge, the specific kind of bailment used as security. So 148 is the general rule, 172 is the special case.
So here's your final cheat sheet. Think of it like this. Bailment is the big family name, like canine. Pledge is a specific type within that family, like golden retriever. The thing that makes a pledge special is its purpose, security, and that purpose gives it the special power to sell the goods if something goes wrong. This brings us to the golden rule, the one sentence you absolutely must remember: all pledges are bailments, but not all bailments are pledges.
And that's a wrap. From giving your bike to the mechanic to taking a gold loan, you now know that these contracts are literally happening all around us, every single day. So the next time you hand something over to someone, take a second and think about the legal rights and duties you've just brought to life. Good luck with your studies, and I'll catch you in the next one.